Number 6, Marvel's Spider-Man 2. Okay, I'm not sure where to begin with this one. For those of you who don't know, I love the original Marvel Spider-Man by Insomniac. I think it's the best superhero game ever. It really did the character justice, because, Spider-Man, at least in the comics, from what I understand, he's been kind of hitting on hard times, and, sometimes, when you get the wrong type of writer, it really brings out the worst in Spider-Man. Well, I think what the first Insomniac game did, it really took everything that we love about him, even, his faults, and, it worked perfectly in the story, and I just thought it was just really good. The combat was really good. I think it took what the Arkham games did and just took it to the next level, in my opinion. And then we got Miles Morales, which was fun too. I honestly I prefer Miles just because of his electricity, his venom strikes, and just the creativity behind it. And then, man, Spider-Man 2. I think from a gameplay perspective, it's improved in every aspect, because I think they do a good job with the getting to places quicker. Fast travel is instant. I feel like they tightened up the combat. I actually think it's more difficult than the original game. I played the original on medium, and I mean, it gave you a decent challenge, but compared to this, even on medium, I was struggling a lot, but it was still rewarding going through every encounter and all that stuff. It was just a lot of fun, and I feel like they just tightened up some things to really make it feel a lot better. I think the introduction of being able to fly, using the wing webs, the web wings, or whatever you want to call them, it just added so much. You just felt like Superman. That's probably the closest we'll ever get to a Superman game. It can be done, people. You just need the right talent. You need lots and lots of time. Give people time to work on these games, because I guarantee you'll get something that's actually decent if you give them time. You studio execs, you should listen to me, some random YouTuber on the internet. And I like some of the puzzles they introduced too. There's this one where you have to try to forget how it works, where you have to where you're going around trying to figure out a crime, and then you have to sort of there's these what am I trying to say, these honeycomb type things, and you have to try not to make the wrong one disappear, something. It's hard for me to explain, but I do like the new mini games that they included, and the Mary Jane stuff, which was not great in the first one. It was tolerable here, but that's kind of I find it hilarious, because it's they made MJ a superhero in her own right, giving her a taser. It's hey, you could do anything if you have a taser. You can become a superhero too, I guess. Yeah, but again, just a lot of the combat is fun. The boss fights are creative. There's just some really kick-ass set pieces to go through, especially when Peter unlocks his venom powers. It's just the coolest thing ever. Just being able to grab people, throw them, just get them, just eat them all up and then spit them back out. It's really cool stuff. And you actually did get to play as Venom for a little bit, although by the end, his combat loop kind of got a bit tedious, I'm not gonna lie. But not bad, especially when you got to take on Kraven the Hunter. That was, oh my god, Kraven the Hunter, he is an absolute badass in this game. When you know what his story is, given that he's just looking for the ultimate challenge, he doesn't have much time left on this world, and nothing else matters to him except to die by that person who is going to surpass him, and ends up being Venom. So yeah, it's just wow, and he's always one step ahead of everybody too, which is great. It's always a great villain, and you absolutely love it. And you got the return of other characters too, like Mr. Negative, and he has a redemption arc with Miles and all that stuff. But yeah, I think where it struggles is the story, because I don't think it's as bad, because I heard a lot of people really dunk on it, but I don't think it's too bad. There are definitely some things that are kind of cringy, and I don't know, I think Peter's a bit more jokey in this one, and I get why that's part of his character, because it helps him deal with the stress and anxiety. It helps relieve that, and that's fair, because I try to make jokes too whenever I'm in a uncomfortable situation. But regardless, yeah, I don't know, maybe gets a bit too jokey, and some of the jokes are kind of lame, but I think it falls apart by the third act, and I don't know why. I just think I think it tries to retread what the first game did. And I think a lot of people have been saying about the Mary Jane stuff, which I don't think is too bad, but I think the whole thing of her, posting that article about Spider-Man being a menace and all that stuff, saying that maybe he is dangerous, I think that was too much. And I get it, it was like supposed to be she's under a lot of pressure, but Peter is not acting like himself because he is, it's because of the symbiote. So it's like, you think that'd be something that understandable. I mean, unless Peter and MJ didn't know each other, I don't know. But it's like, I don't know, that felt really uncalled for. And it just, again, there were a lot of retreads going on. And then, yeah, the controversial ending with Miles taking the mantle. Don't get me wrong, I like Miles just fine. I think he's great and all that. But it just feels like a strange direction. Although I guess they said that Peter would still be around. Like, even after the post games, like after you beat the game, he goes back to work, I guess. But I don't know. I don't know if that's like, I guess you can count that as that. I'm not sure. It's just, I don't know. I'm really torn on this one because, again, there are certain elements of that story that works. And again, everything about the gameplay is totally 100% improved from the original. But just, I guess I don't know. It's just the story for me. It didn't really do it. It's like, again, the first two acts, they're fine. They're fine for what they are. But then, again, by the end, it just repeats. Like, especially with, like, the Osborn stuff. Like, with Harry and all that stuff. It's just, like, again, it's kind of a retread of the first game. And I get it. Peter wants to do something good for the world and all that stuff. But, again, it just feels like it's retreading that what him and Doc Ock did. So I don't know. It just kind of lost me. And even like I'm trying to think if there was anything else. No, there's not much more I can say. I think, again, gameplay fantastic. Absolutely loved every moment of it. But the story, take it with it as you will. So yeah, that's all I have to say. It's still good regardless. I'm looking forward to see what they do next. It's unfortunate with Insomniac getting hacked over the Wolverine stuff, and the thing that bothers me is that people are judging the game based on the fact it's probably not even fully in alpha yet, and yet you're gonna judge it for that and not wait for the final result. That's how anything starts. It's not gonna look good. You have to polish it. You have to give it life. It's just, right now, it's just Wolverine doing a bunch of things, and that's it. So you're not going to get much from that. It's just an alpha. You got to wait for the full game. And when it comes out, and then if it's like, then that's when you judge it. And if you don't like it, okay, fair enough. You don't like it, but you can't judge something that's like not even close to complete. It's probably still like maybe like a quarter inch out from the starting line, It's ridiculous. And it just bothers me. It's the same thing they did with GTA 6. And like at the recent GTA 6 stuff, it looks good and all that, but we still have to wait for the final game to see where it goes, see what happens. You can't just judge something that's incomplete. That's not how this works, guys. Okay, I went on a bit of a rant there, but still, Spider-Man 2. If you like Spider-Man, you'll like this game. If you don't like the fact that Peter is going to be out by the end, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know if you want to continue on at that point, but yeah, I had a good time with it. Number 5, Super Mario RPG. Where did this game come from? I didn't think it was possible this game could exist. There it seemed like zero chance that they would remake such a beloved game. One that it's my first RPG and I have such fond memories. I'm a lot biased. I'm not a bit biased here. I'm a lot biased with this. And wow, they knocked it out of the park with this. Super Mario RPG remake it's so good. Just seeing this game with HD graphics and seeing, like, they have cutscenes in it now, so you can really sort of see these characters in a new light. And I just love the art style of it. Just how like tiny looking all the characters and stubby all the characters. Like you have a little mini Mario. It's kind of adorable, but it still stays true to that original style of the original Super Mario RPG. And yeah, everything is just, they added, so I always say this a lot with these things, but especially for remaster. The remasters, of course they need it. The quality of life improvements, like being able to easily access the map a lot more, going to certain areas quicker, or like when you buy stuff, you can immediately equip them right away. It's just, and all of the items are like, perfectly stacked. Like they're itemized, they're organized better instead of the mess that was in the original game. So it was just so much fun going back and playing this game again. Just they really made sure that everything felt right, especially the controls, because Mario RPG requires a lot more attention than your usual, go back and forth. It was one of the, I'm sure it wasn't the first, but it was one of the first to do the action commands where you have to time your attacks perfectly so you can get a stronger hit in. And the original did that well, and this one does it very well too. I still haven't gotten that 100 jump yet. It's still ridiculously tough, but yeah, everything in it is still intact, and I think people will enjoy it. It's still really unique. I think it's something, at least for the past few years, something we really haven't seen in a while, because I think the last thing that really did it like that was Mario and Luigi. I don't know, maybe the previous Paper Mario, but again, they're kind of doing their own thing to it. But with a Thousand Year Door remake also on the way too, there could be a chance we can go back to that original style, because it just still works, and it's still really engaging. That's what I think works. You're not just taking turns, like you're just taking your average turn going, your turn, my turn. You have to actually be conscious of the moves you make. But it's so simplistic in that. But I think that's what will probably draw people off to it, maybe because it's sort of simplistic in every regard. But, it's Mario. It hasn't always been the most complex. I mean, sometimes it has, but yeah, it's really an RPG for beginners. Like, even the story, it's like, the story is not, like, complex or anything, but I think where it shines is its charm, its humor, the characters. Because when you think about the story, especially how, like, half the time you just encounter random enemies that have nothing to do with anything. Like, when you're in Booster's Tower and you leave to go save Princess Peach, these two clowns show up and like, hey, let's have a fight. And like, okay, sure, why not? They don't have any relevance. I mean, I guess they live in Booster's Tower. I don't know. But if you just enjoy it for what it is, it's just a really fun time. And just going through all those familiar worlds in HD, it's just spectacular. And yeah, there's also some new post-game content as well once you beat the game, where you can refight some of the bosses. And I do like sort of the puzzle aspect they brought into it, where you kind of have to figure out the right approach, especially Booster with getting his train ready, where you have to defeat him before he comes out with the train, because he'll instantly kill your party. But it's like, oh man, it was just annoying to get the timing right on that. Well, some of the other bosses were pretty good too, and the rematch against Cluelix, he was he's the optional super boss in that game. Just his new mode is so cool. The music is epic. They took that's from Final Fantasy IV, right? They took that Final Fantasy IV music, made it so epic. And yeah, Yoko Shimura, she really did a good job rearranging the original score, because that was heard at the original game. I didn't know that, but you can totally tell now it's 100% Yoko, especially if you played the Kingdom Hearts games, because like you'll recognize some of those like her, what's the proper word I'm looking for? Like her style. She has a certain style, like especially she goes hard with like the violins and stuff like that. You'll just be able to, yeah, that's Yoko in a nutshell. But she's still my favorite composer ever, and she just, as honestly is a case where the remake music is mostly better than the original. I can't think of one song that I would rather prefer for the original. It was just banger after banger, and they just added so much emotion, so much, but without even saying a word, just through the music alone. She's always been so good at that. Like, yeah, you can't go wrong with Yoko. But yeah, I feel like this was made for the fans. But I feel like people who want to start out with RPGs, I feel like this is a good way to go. I think the problem is it is a bit easier than the original, especially, well, there are two options now. You can play the normal game, but like they introduce if you perfect a time hit, it actually hits all the enemies, which I didn't mind, just because I felt like it made the combat go a lot faster, so you can move on to the next segment. So I think it worked for me, but I can understand some people might having problems for that. But just because the game's easy doesn't mean it's bad. I feel like if it's, like, I played through the game twice. Okay, I played through the game twice, so it shows you that there's still a fun factor despite how easy it is. You just kind of want to see where it goes with all the silliness, all the characters. It's just a fun time. And I highly recommend anyone check out Super Mario RPG. Yeah, again, I'm very biased on it. I love that game to death, but yeah, it is what it is. Just if you're looking for a really, again, just sort of it's like a comfy game. It's like a comfort game. You just want something that will put a big smile on your face. Just play Mario RPG for the Switch. It's great. But if you can, play the original too. It's on I think it's on the Super Nintendo, the SNES Mini, which good luck finding one. I don't know if they are selling them at this point. I think it was on the Wii U's, the Wii U's Virtual Console's down too. So, you know what? Yeah, I mean, find the original any way you can. But if you can't, the Switch version is excellent. Definitely check it out. Number 4, Sonic Superstars. Why is it that whenever there's a new Sonic game, there's always seems to be a divide between it, even when it's one that's trying to recapture the magic of the originals? Because I thought this game was fantastic. I just love the sense of speed. I love the creativity and the level design, and being able to play Sonic, Knuckles, Tails, Amy, and the new character Trip. I just don't get it, man. Sonic can't win no matter what. Well, then again, I was kind of mixed on Sonic Frontiers, so who am I to judge? But yeah, there was just something really fun about it that just harkened back to the good old days of the Genesis games. And I think it definitely did it better than Sonic 4 did. It's hard to explain why. Again, I think there was some really solid level design, and I just love the sense of speed, and also characters have their own unique levels. It was just a fun ride from beginning to end. I think the bosses were okay, but some of them went on, especially the final boss. Well, at least when you're playing the regular game, and then you have to play it again later against, what is it, Fang the Sniper that you went back to, because they're always changing his names around. But then you go do Fang the Sniper with Trip, and that's a slog to get through. And I know there are the powers as well, but I mean, they kind of take a bit of the edge off of it, the Chaos Emerald powers. But I don't know, the bosses went on too long for my liking. Then you had to fight this giant dragon at the end, which kind of comes out of nowhere. But okay, again, kind of went on too long. So I think it's funny for a game that's all about going fast. The bosses are like really slow. I don't know. Sonic bosses have never been like amazing. Like sometimes you'll get some decent boss fights, but here they're okay. They start out fine, but then I just think as time goes on, they get really, really slow. But yeah, there was just a lot to like about it. Again, this sense of speed. Again, and what was this also say? Also, like the Emerald powers are cool, though. I don't know. I didn't spend as much time with them as I would hope for, because I feel like I didn't really need to use them as much. And I'm not saying that they don't have their use at all. Again, especially the boss fights, they come in handy. But other times, I don't know. I just didn't need them. But at least it's not the Wisps again, you know. It's like, how many times are we going to use those little guys? It's like, can't they just enjoy their life in peace now that Eggman's, factory or his diabolical theme park is out of commission now? It's like, geez. But I mean, when you use them, they're fun to use. But I guess, again, it just harkens back to that sense of speed. Like, you go really fast in this game, but it also has the fun level design of something like Sonic Mania. Like, I don't think it's as good as Sonic Mania, but it's there, and it's just a lot of fun to go through, and just, I feel like they hit the right notes, and people hate the soundtrack for some reason. I thought it was really good. I don't know why. Maybe I'm just a sucker for those, that 16-bit Genesis jams, I could just, I always enjoy them, I don't know. But, yeah, there's not much I could say on this one, because I feel like, at the end of the day, it's still classic Sonic. It still feels like classic Sonic. I feel like they really nailed the way his movements and all that stuff, and I like playing as Amy, Knuckles, and Tails as well. When you just switch between them whenever you want. Though they have their own special levels as well, which is a lot of fun, so I do appreciate that. And then Trip has her own campaign at the end, which makes the game harder, and again, very exhilarating. I just had a blast going through it. I don't know, it is, everyone has their opinions, about Sonic, but hey, you gotta give Sega for at least trying something different every once in a while, or trying a throwback, I mean, Sir Sonic 4 didn't work out so well, but this one did. I enjoyed it. I really had a lot of fun. Number 3, Super Mario Bros. Wonder. I was so happy with this game. I always talk about Doom, but Mario has always been my boy. Ever since the beginning, back, I mean, I wasn't born in 1985, but the original Super Mario Brothers was my first game and an introduction to just gaming in general, to a world where always expect the unexpected. And I think after the new Super Mario Brothers games, they really went back and needed to figure out what makes Mario great. It's just this creative level design, this imagination, and they really brought the imagination to a whole new level with this game. It's just so good to look at. And the fact that, like, they try to recapture, like, the original Super Mario Brothers games, too, with the animations as well. And it even takes the inspiration from the box art, like the way Mario moves at certain points. It's just so phenomenal. The levels are also really creative as well. They introduced this thing called the Wonder Seed, where is a Wonder Flower. I think you find a Wonder Flower in almost every level. You touch it, and then something crazy happens. Like one point, you like turn into this weird like Jello squishy thing, and you can go on walls. Or then one where the pipes come alive, or where it's like this but you're getting chased by this stampede of bulls. It's just like you never know what to expect going into it. Or there's one where you keep having to jump on all of these bubbles and get all the way to the top. And yeah, the possibilities just seem endless. And it was really needed, because like I like the new Super Mario games just fine, but they just felt samey, you know. They just felt like, oh hey, remember, it's like the member berries in South Park. It's like, hey, remember these kind of levels, all that. Where it's like now this game just, they really brought their A game. It's in a new kingdom. You get a whole bunch of different characters, including play as Princess Peach now. So it's nice we're seeing her as more of a playable character in these the main games these days. There's just a lot to love. Like, I think the music is fine. There's some tracks that are good, but others are kind of like not the worst, but they're fine. I like the Talking Flowers too. They add a bunch of personality and say some weird things like eating a Goomba. I don't know. I don't think I want to go near those Talking Flowers anytime soon. But yeah, there's just a lot of creativity, and they also introduce a lot of new enemies, which is very welcome. Because again, the new games, that mostly have the same enemies we've seen before, but they have a lot of new, weird, and crazy ones, as you'd expect from Mario, and they really make you think about how you approach each platforming challenge you're facing. And the world map is also interesting too, because it feels more like broken up this time. Like you have like the linear like map, but then you have like more of an open world thing, like Super Mario 3D World, where you can kind of wander around. And it's cool because actually one of the worlds is more like a HUD this time, where a hub this time, not HUD. You know what I mean? More like a hub this time, where there are levels in there, but then you can also go around and choose which world you want to go to. I think it's really creative and kind of keeps things interesting. So it's not like, oh, it's just a hub where you just walk around. You can actually go to different levels. So you're not just walking straight over there. You have to face some challenges at first. And they also introduced some different like challenges in certain levels. Like there's like a scavenger hunt where you have to go around and try to find flower coins so you can get another seed. And then sometimes you race against a Wiggler. Kind of reminds me of Koopa the Quick in Super Mario 64. Those are always a lot of fun. And then I like the use of the badges, because they can kind of really cater towards your style of gameplay. I always use the spin jump one that makes you go higher. I think that badge is just fantastic. I really don't use any of the other badges that much, except that one. But sometimes if I like to experiment, maybe I'll use it, because some of them do harken back to they're more like references to the previous Mario games, like Mario 2 with the crouch jump. And then you have Luigi's wiggly legs jump, as I like to call it. That too. There's just so much good things in this game, but there are certain things that hold it back from being like perfection. Especially the boss fights, except for the final one against Bowser. I thought that one was really cool. It kind of reminds me of like Andros in Star Fox, but it has a really cool beat to it that you have to follow along to. That's the thing too I like about it. It has like this music motif, which I think fits really well with the game, and has a lot more a lot of personality that's been much needed in the 2D Mario games. But yeah, the first thing is the boss fights, because they're so underwhelming. They're only Bowser Jr. again. Like, you think of a concept where anything can happen, anything goes crazy, you'd expect something more, but they really don't do much with it. It's a real shame. And then the other thing is, surprisingly, the game a bit more on the easy side than I would expect. Well, maybe it's because I played. Some people say it as a good challenge, so I don't know. I played these games for years, so it might be just a me thing. But maybe, well, the special world does have some really challenging levels, especially the final one where you have to use the badges. Oh my god, that one is really gonna test your skills, I tell you. But yeah, everything else is just really good and really memorable. And I think when we look back later on Mario games that we love, you always think of games like Mario 3, of course, the first one, Mario Galaxy, Mario Odyssey, and I think Mario Wonder is going to be right up there with them, just for the pure fun of it all. Well, something else I should mention about the maps, which I think is a neat idea that they did, was there's like a storyline that they introduced in some of the maps where you have a mission to complete, in addition to trying to get to your main goal of getting the, was it like a giant Wonder Seed or something that you need to stop Bowser? So you kind of have to go through that as well. It only happens in some worlds. I wish they were fleshed out some more, but you know, it's Mario. I'm not expecting high levels of writing. I'm not expecting complicated scenarios and all that stuff. I'm just here to have fun. That's all I want out of Mario. Not that I'm saying I would want to see more like Mario RPGs, the later ones anyway, like Thousand Year Door, Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga. Wow, Super Paper Mario. Wow, that gets really sad at points. I tell you. But yeah, there's just so much to love. Oh, and the new power-ups are also good. The drill one I found kind of underwhelming, as I feel like there weren't many places you could use it, but I love the elephant power-up just because of the trunk, just how useful it is to knock enemies aside. And I like the bubble one too, just you put enemies in bubbles and you can jump off the bubbles to get to higher ground. It's all great stuff. I'm just so happy to have this game. It really made me feel like a kid again, because again, especially with the aesthetic, reminding me of like the first game. It just, I don't know. I think when the Switch is nearing the end of its life cycle, I'm sure they'll announce the Switch 2 at some point, but I think if there's definitely one of the best games on there, without a doubt, is going to be Super Mario Bros. Wonder. And it was just, excuse the pun, wonderful from start to finish. So absolutely loved it.